just going to do a quick tutorial on how to use my spreadsheet for various tools. The first page, calculations, is just a regular old damage calculator. You put in your stats here, and then the Pokemon that you're looking up, and their level, and IVs, and move power, and everything here. Basically, use Xarians, or you refer to Xarians for how to use. Basically, same numbers evolve except for attack stage and defense stage. You can just put in 1 to it, or minus 1, and it will automatically calculate the multiplier. Otherwise, leave it 0 for no changes. And then, so basically, everything in the blue box is what you can adjust, and then the green boxes give you the output of everything. So basically everything here is what you want to look at. One hit KO is based on average percentage. So if you do 94% average on average, you'll one hit about 46% of the time. And the range KO is basically if these numbers are based on the true defense. So if you've already found out that you had 100 HP and 100 or 90 defense, then this would be an 18% chance to kill because these are the numbers based on the actual stats here. So the range KO is if you know the exact numbers, and one hit is for the approximation if you don't know anything about them. And then these numbers here are for your defensive calculation. So you can adjust your defensive badge boost and the special badge boost, and it will. Since special attack and special defense are included in the same one. So second page is for basically updating your run as you go. So basically every time you find info on a Pokemon, you can just put in their stats in this. So you always need to include HP if you put in the stat, because you will find out about their HP regardless. So if you're not good at HP estimation, then it might be slightly unreliable. You'll have to approximate anyway. So just put in average if you're not sure. The average one if you're not sure. So just like you're not sure, it's about feel like it's about average. You put in 100, and then you know it's attack or whatever. So you can adjust the attack. Currently, this you have to do it manually. You have to work it out. So if you do 80% to them, then you have to adjust just the defense to make it add up to about 80%, and then so it's not as ideal. You can use Xarian's calculator if you want to for that. For getting the exact defenses, it might be a bit quicker. Couldn't quite put that in here, but that's fine. I might do that at a later stage. For the time being, I had a lot to work on. And then every stat you want to put in, you can put in here, and then it'll recalculate the averages of the other stats, but don't put them here. So just like if you know HP, attack, and like speed maybe, or just special attack, like if you know it outsped you, so you can put in a high speed. If it doesn't outspeed, you can put in a really, if you like you're paralyzed and it doesn't outspeed, then you know it's really low speed, etc. Basically, yeah, all of that. And I did add a sick fat column here just in case people want it. Basically, then just put 0.5 in this box if the Pokemon has sick fat, and then it will basically just half the damage from fire type and ice type moves. So now where all the information that might become useful here is on this page. So again, just only adjust the boxes that are blue. Every other, with the exception of like these pink ones. I've just put them pink because they're slightly more like not sure on the word, slightly more niche, maybe not niche, but not quite always going to be used, and you need to use them specifically. So this is more a damage predictor based on your level and your opponent's level, and will give you a fair amount of information on your total run. So in this, so you need to calculate your base attack and base special attack from just an estimate is usually fine. So you just use the BST estimator. It'll give you this, and then that'll base it on 15.5 IVs. So it might be slightly off, but it'll only be like 1 or 2 attack off, so the calculations won't change too much anyway. And if you and then attack EVs and special attack EVs you can put here. On average, I think it's like 120, 116 attack EVs you'll get on average during a run, and like 87, I think, special attack. But obviously, early in the run, you're not maxing EVs, so usually if you like calculating a few levels in advance, just add a couple of EVs on here. If you're calculating for the Elite Four, just put in like 120, or if you think that the EVs are like a bit wrong, you can just adjust your base attack a bit and then get it to work out. Usually, what I do is just change the badge boost to like 1 or whatever, and then if this number is what shows up on the game at your current level, then you know you're on about the right track. If you don't, then you can adjust. I mean, you can. The OV's value is just here. I haven't bothered adding a separate one. I didn't want to add too many numbers. I don't really know where to put it on this page without making everything a bit too cluttered. So you can change this if you want. If you know the exact EV, or if you know, well, you won't know the exact IVs, but you can guess whether it's low IVs or not, and you can like adjust your base attack to be a bit higher and low IVs. But that's really it. Tech stage, tech badge, basically the same as before, same as the first page. Um, and then the enemy level that you're predicting and their IVs. So if you're predicting for Elite 4, you can like say the average level around 80, 30 IVs. This will give you how much you're going to do it. Or so you change like you're like going to be 92 or something in Elite 4. It'll give you like how many things. Basically just predict everything based on that. These pink boxes are for your exact values. So if you're doing exact calculations right now but I mean I don't really know if you use this for very much. Probably not. But if you forget to calculate your base stats at the start of a run and you're finding it a bit tricky to actually calculate these values, you can use the exact values here. It will take these calculations take into account these values unless if this is 0. So if these are 0, then this will take these values. If this is a different number, it will change everything. So obviously, if you have like 10 or something, then you don't do any damage. So if you end up using like your exact values for now, and then you're trying to predict something, remember to change these back to 0. Otherwise, then your numbers won't work out as you want them to. Again, so basically in this column is where you put all your moves that you want. I have put in here, so these ones are pink because these are slightly different. Like low kick is obviously variable power, so you need to put that in this column. And other variable power ones aren't quite. I don't. I mean, yeah. I don't know how I want to deal with magnitude right now. So currently, I think is it in here? I can't remember if yeah. So I put it as an average value of 71. Because on average it will do 71 damage, but it's a bit too complex to really go through and adjust for that. And I don't know because I think the numbers won't quite be what you're needing from them. But you can get a rough estimate if you're like looking for average values, or you can like see it's like okay, this will do like 80%, but maybe I high roll on it and it can kill some of the time. So that maybe that's important enough. But basically, it's supposed to use just the information you're given to make your own decisions on the run. And then the multi-hit, currently you're only configured to do Twin Needle and Boomerang. All the other moves are, again, slightly complex, and I could use the base 3 hit on average or whatever, but I don't really want to configure every single multi-hit move. And most of them are pretty redundant. Not many good ones. Like unless you have like Spike Stab Cannon or something like that. Very hard to actually get value out of multi-hit moves. And the worst case scenario is you can just sort of like you can maybe put in like the 4th slot or whatever and just make the power about like 3 times or whatever. It'll be a rough estimate. It'll be a bit lower these boxes will return the values of the thing. Like it doesn't return a value because it doesn't have one. And then this stab is where you can put in 1.5 or 1, depending on whether the move is stab or not. Weather, I don't think there's any. Yeah, weather for physical moves is kind of redundant, but I've put it here just in case I end up making a Gen 4 calculator. Currently, this is just only configured for Gen 3, and then so it's basically if it, like you have drizzle, so you want to like work out drizzle, then put in 1.5 here. Or if you have drought for whatever reason you're running this, then obviously it's not reliable to use 1. And then drought, obviously 1.5 here. Uh, but yeah, that's basically it for that. And then, so now based on what your moves are, what is it? Oh yeah, nature here. 1.1 if it's plus nature, 0.9 if it's minus, or 1 if it's just um, no increase slash decrease. Neutral nature, as they call it. Couldn't remember the name. So now the information you get from this, yeah, average damage from each move, which is not super reliable, but like can be. It's just there. Doesn't give you that much information on things because obviously it doesn't really matter if you're doing 600% damage to one thing because that will just lower. That'll inflate your average damage, but I don't want to like just do like 100% for anything over 100. So I think it's just best to just leave it here, but just know that this is. I mean, you could use it however you wish, but the more interesting information here is the KO percent. So this is basically how many Pokemon in the seed you will KO on average, um, and this all just takes into account. Basically, if you know the information, it will take into account whether you know it. So, like, if you know something will kill, then it will take into account that it's 100% to kill. Um, and if you don't know it, then it will just take the average chance of killing it. So basically, this value here, the one hit KO percent, it will just average them out across the run. So basically, KO, it will say on average how much you KO with a move. Um, and then confidence level is more useful if you're trying to work out PP. Um, so for your secondary moves, say you have Shadow Ball and Hydro Pump or Flamethrower or whatever. I just put all of these here just to give you an idea of all the moves. But um, say you wanted to know how often you could normally Shadow Ball, like um, this is maybe useful earlier in the run where it's like you're like levels 50, like level 60 or 60, yeah, 65 maybe, and you're fighting level 40 Pokemon. How often can you Shadow Ball or low kick in these situations because you need to save return PP, etc. Then basically this will say how confident do you need to be to want to actually use this move. So um, and it will basically say if you're more likely than this value to kill it, then it will let you kill it. So you, if you need, so like if you have 0.999, then basically this is guaranteed. So basically, if you only want to do it when you're guaranteed to kill it, then you need to type in like a really high value close to 1. Because you can't type in actually 1. I guess I should probably greater than or equal to. Maybe I'll just do that instead. So breakpoints here. So important breakpoint as well is 6.66 as well. Um, not for this run. Not it won't show you here, but basically, if you know the information, if it's a range to kill, then it will take into it will be either 0.33 or 0.66, depending, or 0.67, depending on whether it's a favorable range or unfavorable range. It's a bit too much work to actually calculate the exact one for everything. It's just a bit. So I just simplified it a bit to just favorable ranges. You're likely to kill 67% of the time, and unfavorable ranges 33%. So, and obviously, if it's not a range, it's 0%, and if it is a range, if it's not, no, well, if it's not a range, then it's 0% or 100%. So important breakpoints will be like 0.67 in general in a run, but so you can use that if like so maybe if you don't want to like risk ranges and you're like you're only going to use it like 80% of the time, sorry you need to kill it 80% of the time, then this will allow you to um, say tell you how safely you can use flamethrower, well it's not flamethrower but whatever move you want. So that helps you like okay so if you're happy to use it at 80% likely to die, then you know that 23% of the time you can use low kick, 14% you can use shadow ball. Obviously, these numbers don't they can overlap as well, so you probably have to take a few percent off. Um, you don't want to make it too complex by like mutually exclusive, basically just doing it mutually exclusive or anything. But um, that's we can just you can just use this to your benefit. Like obviously, if it's like you have two of the same moves, then it's a bit worse because they will probably kill the same thing. But on average, if the coverage um, covers a lot of different typings, then it's not as bad to just maybe like 2% of things die, 2% of things die here that both kill it, and everything else is like when it's super effective, and when it's super effective, then you use these moves. But I may add other features, like I may add another like sort of way to discern between how often you can use the move. But for now, this is what we have, and then oh yeah, I do have a pressure multiplier here. If you want to add this in, probably not kind of useless. But if you have like a high pressure seed, if you've found like 3 or 4 Pokemon with pressure, you can just put in 3 or 4 here and add a bunch of Pokemon. Like just estimate how many Pokemon you've seen in the run. Apart from that don't have pressure. But um, if you're like me who doesn't keep track of pressure, then it's not as going to be that useful. It'll just take the average of something having pressure at 1 out of 75 or whatever it is. One hit, so and then these numbers are basically just on like in the seed, how many Pokemon do you one shot, how many Pokemon do you two shot, how many Pokemon do you three shot, etc. And then we'll give you a PP efficiency. So this is how many PP you're expected to use on every Pokemon, um, given these levels. And this adds into account the fact that it might have pressure or detect, or protect, or endure. If I've missed anything, then it will be slightly off, but I think those are the only 3 moves in Gen 3 that kind of force you to use an extra PP. And then here we just have the biggest defensive threats in your seed. So this, like at the start of a run, it's usually just going to be all the like high BST Pokemon and just Pokemon you don't have good coverage against. So as you can see, most of these are either things that return can't hit super effectively, and obviously Jirachi and Relicanth are high here because we don't have any, like the highest power move we have on it is 80 base. Anything that's usually resist normal here is steel or rock, which fighting hits super effective against, and Relicanth is obviously only 40 base power too, with low kick. Everything else is higher base power, so it's higher. So that is that. And obviously, if you've seen Pokemon and you know that this Wailord has 150 HP and 175 defense, then you'll see that obviously now this Wailord goes up in the defensive threats. So that's basically it for everything. If you're looking, and I have 100 here, 100 ones here. You can use the data tab to look things up. It's a bit messy, but um, basically, if you like looking for a next Pokemon and how much damage you do to it, um, and it happens to not be in the top 100 for whatever reason that you're looking it up, then you can just go here and check, like check next to the search. Just don't adjust anything. Don't sort these. Otherwise, things will not go correctly. It will mess everything up. So don't do anything with that. Um, and that's basically it. So hopefully this explains everything. If it doesn't, then just ask any questions, and I can explain. And if you have any features that I've forgotten that you think I should add, I can do that. I will probably not work on this too much anymore, but if I've noticed something that's really off, then we can fix it up, no problems. And yeah, I hope this is useful to everybody.